What's up, ladies and gentlemen? ChuckfinleLP Play Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped Part 1. This is the third Crash Bandicoot game in the series, the third Crash Bandicoot game to be made by Naughty Dog, the first game to be made to have relics in it, the debut of the relics, the last main story Crash game on the for the PS3, and as well as debut for some new characters who I won't spoil, and the first time that Coco is actually playable. A lot of firsts and lasts, and a couple lasts for this game. But you can see here the startup menu looks pretty much the same as option-wise. Option-wise, similar to what Crash 2 was. Now this follows the events of Crash 2. I'm not sure how long time-wise, but it is fairly soon after you destroy the Cortex space station. And this is the first game to have Aku actually speaking.
It was that Bandicoot from deep inside my temple prison. I sent you simpler instructions to follow, but you lost the gems, you lost the crystals, and I have lost my patience. There is now no other power source left on this planet. No, we've had a few unfortunate setbacks and failed, but since your bumbling has managed to set me free, I am feeling generous. There is still a way for us to amass the power needed to enslave this miserable planet. And this time the great Uka will make sure that you do it right. After many eons, my evil twin, Uka has been freed from his underground prison. Long ago, I locked him there to protect the world from his malice. Now, freed once again, he must be stopped. Children, Uka and Cortex plan to use this time-twisting machine to gather crystals that lay scattered across time. I have brought you here to recover the crystals before they do so. To open the time portal, simply stand on a button and then jump into the portal. Good luck.
Alright, so that was just Aku explaining how to get into the warp portals. This is the same warp room, similar. You can see there's different warp rooms, except it's not like Crash 2 anymore. You just have one main room, and then you have all of these other pathways that lead into the other rooms. And if you saw all of those were locked, you have to come into these other ones, and you can see the relics there, the blue things to the right of the gems. That is the debut of the relics that we will see later on. But I'm gonna do this like I did with Crash 1. I'm gonna start from the left and go to the right.
Crash, crash, crash. Why must you always muck in my mud? Oh look, I have a mask helping me too. We will find out which one is more powerful soon enough.
And you'll sometimes have the people talking to, whether it's the boss for that warp room, or if it's Cortex saying things from time to time. I can see Crash's animation looks the exact same. Everything that he does will, movement-wise, will be the exact same. A few differences: the striped crates here now give out 2 pieces of Wumpa fruit instead of 1. Probably to make it go a lot faster while you're going through here. You can still do the same spin. The spin animation looks a little bit different though. You can't see, it looks more like, you can't see as much color in it. It just more looks orange. And the slot boxes are introduced in this game as well. You could, if you saw it, there was a white. You could either chose to gain nothing, someone preferred to, it depends on what each box. It's not all the same set number or a life, and there will be different ones as you go along. And the bonus rounds return, except all of these will be this kind of floating one that we saw in levels like level 3 from Crash 2, as well as the sewer levels from Crash 1, or from Crash 2. They will be different as well. The puzzle system will be more pronounced here, and you can see here in the HUD, you can see how many boxes are required for the level and the bonus round, and so that's useful as well. If you're trying to go after the boxes. Now, something that is not that good, but it is easily, but it's easy to get around, is the movement. Once you bounce on the boxes, you can actually get propelled forward quite a ways, and so you have to be prepared for that. Usually you see it more on the striped crates. If you jump on it, you can kind of see yourself moving almost like you were on ice, like you had just gotten off ice in some of the ice levels. And that's good and bad. I can see why it would be considered good, but it's pretty much just bad. Now, if you don't make up your mind and hit one of the items on the slot boxes, they will turn into metal crates, and you will not be able to break them, and you'll have to quit the level and then come back if you want the box gem, so you have to be very careful for that. The masks work in the same way as they have in the previous two games. You get one hit for the colored feathers. The colored one, the golden one, is 2 hits, and then you will gain a mask on your face, and you can see the crash dance there that I will show off. Again, I'll show it off at least once, like I did with Crash 2, and then I won't show it again just for time reasons. But some new level designs are this one where you are swimming underwater. The controls are you can either use the left analog stick. The left analog stick is the primary movement. Well, the option is there for you to use it, unlike in Crash 2 where you had to push a button in the old PlayStation 1 days with the DualShock controllers. And but with this one, you start out the game being able to use it, but you can also use the directional buttons if you want to. And so with this, you push up to go up, down to swim down, left to swim left, and then right to swim right. And the way you speed up, if you see me kick to speed up a little bit, is by pushing X. You spin with both circle and square, and you can pull the HUD up with the triangle button, just like you could in Crash 1 and Crash 2. But this is pretty straightforward. It's a little bit slow. That's why you will see me kick quite a lot, just because it helps you get around. It's kind of like the jetpack physics, how you would be really slow in the jetpack physics. And everything, and something else that is the rumble feature was used a whole lot here. If your controller, if your DualShock controller had a rumble feature on it, which a lot of them, I believe, either every one of them or a lot of them did, you could feel it. Like right now, while I'm using this little, I don't remember the name for this little vehicle. I don't think it really has a name. You can shoot the rockets or the torpedoes with it, with the square, and I believe with the square button you can boost with the circle button. With that, once I get it again, I will show it to you. There'll be twice in this level where I can get to it, and then I'll be able to show that off. Now these eels will, you do have to be careful because with the eels, they are not one-hit kills. If you do have a mask, it will protect you. The mask will protect you from pretty much everything. You see here. You can also shoot with the X button if you want to, but to boost, you can either hit the R1 or the circle, and that will give you a boost of speed, which is always very useful while going under here, especially while you're trying to go after the time trials, which I will talk about later in the game. Now you want to be very careful because you can only destroy this coral with this little vehicle, and if you don't destroy all the coral, you cannot. Before losing this vehicle, you will lose the ability to get the box gem, and you'll have to do the level over again. And so you want to be very careful about doing that. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to really say about that. Just make sure you destroy the coral. That's about the hardest thing, and the thing you have to look out for while doing that. Pretty easy through here. Now, as you can see here, Coco's head actually comes up, and this is her first level you can play as her, and it uses the mechanics and everything from the riding levels that we've seen from previous titles, like Crash 1 with the hog and Crash 2 with the polar bear. But this will act more like the polar than anything, except it's not as fast and it's a little bit easier to control. Now, you can jump with the X button. You can boost with the square. I'm not going to boost here, but once I get to a section where I can boost, yeah, you can boost with the square, circle, and R1 buttons, whichever button works for you. You can boost with that one; it'll definitely help you out. But just exactly with the polar ones, as you can see here, you are moving. You cannot stop, so you have to make sure that you hit every single box just right. And while going through this section, you want to be very careful. Obviously, the holes will kill you in one shot. And getting these boxes are a little bit easier than they were in Crash 2. Some crap. It sucks. Some of the boxes are actually pretty difficult to get to. While well, no, actually, they're not that hard to get to. That's what I was going to say, except for that one if you miss the timing wrong, or if you mess the timing up on it. You always want to make sure you check how many boxes you have while going into a section like the 4 stack of boxes, because it's actually pretty easy if you're going really fast through that section to miss the boxes. And this one you have to do a running leap, and then to be able to jump over that hole so that you don't get hit on the wall. The wall is, and if you trip over those barrels, I think the wall is the only thing that will kill you in one hit if you have a mask. Huh. I wonder where I missed a box at. Well, I'm going to go back in and get that. I'm going to go back in for the boxes. I don't know where I missed a box at. That's odd. But anyway, I'm going to try to do at least 4 to 5 levels per video. These levels are actually pretty small. They're a lot smaller than they were in Crash 2. And you can see Tiny there will say something to you as well as you go through while you're in his warp room. And something that Aku should have said instead of Tiny was you can activate the time trial. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go after the box gem. But you can actually go after the box gem and the relic at the same time. I'm pretty sure. I've never actually done it before, so I may be wrong. As you can see here, the life boxes will return as life boxes. You don't have to quit the save file and then come back, which is very useful, especially if you have a hard time later on in the game with keeping lives. You can come back to an easy level like this one and stock up on lives. And I guess that's the box I missed, so no. So they still don't turn back into boxes, or to life boxes. You have to actually I guess you have to quit the save file and then come back. Well, I do apologize for that. I could have swore that in this game they did that, but obviously they didn't. So you still have to focus on a Wumpa Fruit to go after boxes unless you want to quit the save file, which isn't that difficult, especially if you're having trouble with lives. It's definitely a great way to gain some lives. So just as the slope starts to go down, that's when you want to jump. Use the charge and jump, and as you go along, Pearl will get faster, and you'll actually gain quite a bit of speed with him, which is always very useful. There you go. That's the gym. And yeah, you can see I've done everything in the start, with the first video, the cutscenes and everything, and I'm only just almost 16 minutes in, and I've already done 3 levels. While I know Crash 1 and 2 is a little bit longer, but they both have longer levels. And so that's why I say maybe as I go on, the levels will get a little bit longer, a little bit harder. I'll have to backtrack a little bit, 2 different levels for different color gyms, so I may keep it about 4 videos. I don't know yet. But anyway, this is one of the chase levels. Except it's going to be a little bit different from the previous chase levels. It's not going to be exactly like Boulders was, where it's you're always running up against the camera. It will be 3D gameplay where you're running towards the camera, like this, like in Boulders. But then it will also mix in some rest areas, like like in Crash 2, except that this will have some 2D gameplay elements in it as you go along, and you'll actually run away from the camera in some sections. So it's definitely not at all like the original, chase things in games. And now something you don't have to worry about at all is the TNTs. If you blow up a TNT and there's boxes, if there's another TNT around it, it will blow up. I'm not sure about regular boxes. I don't think so, but it very well may. Now this grass you can actually get stuck in and it'll slow you down. All you have to do is just spin into it or body slam it and it will go away. These guys, you have to be very careful because sometimes they will actually trap you in the they're lava systems that are covered in grass, or I guess like muck, and they will actually trap you. Of course, if you have a mask on, they won't, but you have to be very careful spinning into them if you don't have a mask. And the enemies in this game will be mostly lab assistants. You did see a few goats and frogs and some sea life, but the majority of the enemies in this game will be lab assistants, so you just want to look out for them. They will be dressed as they would in for that time period, because this is a time traveling game. Instead of actually going to the 3 islands, you're actually going to different points or different eras in time. You've already seen something from the medieval ages, the time of dinosaurs here, the sea, the Great Wall, I guess when it was under construction. That's just one of the few eras in time that we will see as we go on. But anyway, so now here you can either do this, jump on all these boxes, or you can do what you could do in Crash 1 and spring up by crouching. That's actually a very good way to do it. Several guides that I've read, there was actually a guide, like a book that Brady Games had wrote and had published sometime around the same time that this game came out. I'm not sure. I think it might have been the same, kind of like the Crash 2 guide was, where it didn't come out with Crash 2, but it might have come out a couple weeks after, or maybe a few months after. But it actually said, it didn't actually mention using the crouch jump. You had to jump on the boxes to be able to get up to it, or you wouldn't be able to get the Wumpa Fruit out of one of the boxes. All you could do is just jump up into it and break it. Now that ending section there was actually something that you had to look out for or watch out for, because you have, similar to the chase levels from Crash 2, you had to break all three of those wooden, or two of those wooden crates, then flip the nitro switch to get to the gym. And you have to be very, very careful and very precise about that. And you can see here, Crash has a new waiting animation. It's not, and it does take longer for him to get to his waiting animation. He'll do several different ones. He'll start dancing. He'll scratch his head like he did when he was watching the holograms in Crash 2, and he'll also break out a yo-yo, which we will see later on. But I think I'm going to go ahead and in the video here, I'll talk about the trivia and everything that we've seen. You can see that's similar to what he did in Crash 2, but he doesn't break out his Crash 1 pose in this game, sadly. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and talk about all the trivia and everything for this game. And of course, I don't have it pulled up yet, or for the levels that we've done already. And of course, I don't have it all pulled up already. But you can see him playing with his yo-yo now, and what he will do is he'll do that trick and a couple others, and then he will actually get himself tied up into it. I'm not sure if he'll do it now. I'm not even sure if he does it. Okay, so he won't do it now. This must be random when he does it, but anyway. Alright, so we'll see see if I can find the levels here. I hope I can. Okay. Alright, so Toad Village is the first level in Crash Bandicoot 3. It takes place in the medieval times with goats, lab assistant swordsmen who repeatedly get their swords stuck in the ground, and frogs who are actually lab assistants who can only be transformed back into human forms by being defeated by them, which actually has the frogs jumping on Crash and then kissing him to turn him back into a prince. In the European version of this game, the lab assistant swordsmen require only 2 pulls to free their sword from the ground, as opposed to 3 in the United States or American version. After fully completing the game, one can spot fading Crash upon a return visit to this level, a trait it shares with Making Waves and Hog Ride, which I will show off later on in the game. But one crystal, 1 gem, and 42 boxes and 7 in the bonus round. Not a whole lot of trivia really for this level, but anyway, so we'll do Under Pressure next. Under Pressure is the second level in Crash Bandicoot 3. It is this first of 2 levels set in the deep subaquatic ocean depth sea trenches. The submergible is used for the first time in this level. That was the little thing that I was riding around on, shooting the torpedoes. When Crash enters the portal at the end of the level, you can see his underpants floating away along with his diving gear. This is most likely due to his death animation for hitting a mine being recycled. This also applies to Deep Trouble. This is the first underwater level in the series. Something that they use quite often in the series. Well, I guess not quite as often, but any games that copy Crash 3 or use that same style of gameplay use it. 1 crystal, 1 gem, 92 boxes. Alright, we'll do Orient Express next. Orient Express is the third level in Crash Bandicoot 3. This is the first level in the entire series where Coco is playable. This stage sees her riding her new tiger friend Purah along the Great Wall of China, still under construction at some point in the distant past. In practice, this level plays almost identically to the polar levels from Crash 2, but now with the ability to charge indefinitely by holding down the circle button. Or the R1 button, actually. You can find that a lot easier. Obstacles along with the main path include fearsome Chinese-style dragons, rolling barrels which can be charged through barrel-filled wagons, and lab assistants in disguise as bricklaying Chinamen. Complicating the quest for the clear gem are several vertically split paths where Coco can either simply stay on the ground or launch herself up to a higher level. Very briefly, using weird ramp things with lab assistants hiding under them. For some reason, the player will have to plan ahead and make sure he or she is taking the path with the crates and not the path without them. 51 boxes, 1 crystal, 1 gem. Name origin. This level derives its name from the real-world Orient Express, a famous historical long-distance passenger train which passed through the Orient or Far East China on its historical route between Paris, France, and Istanbul, Turkey. The Orient Express no longer exists, but has been forever immortalized in Agatha Christie's classic work of mystery fiction, Murder on the Orient Express. Trivia: it's a little known fact that the player can bump into the various hanging baskets around this level to receive one per fruit, exactly as if they had broken a crate. Though curiously, this does not affect the crate count in the level in any way. This is never explained in the game, though some players suspect it might be because the baskets are baskets and not crates. Incidentally, contrary to the absurd scenes depicted in this level, ancient Chinese crates and baskets always contained rice and never fruit. It shares this glaring error with Midnight Run. Given the distinct look of the watchtowers, the level, along with the Midnight Run, are located on the south end of the Great Wall, somewhere near the Jin Shangling section. And you can still see I haven't been paying attention to Crash. I'm not sure if he actually tied himself up with the rope or not, or with the yo-yo. He very well may. Boneyard is the 4th level in Crash Bandicoot 3. Crash finds himself whisked away to an underground, icky, swampy forest in the distant prehistoric past, an era still ruled by the dinosaurs. Reigning supreme among the beasts is a fearsome herbivore, the Triceratops, which will relentlessly chase Crash through the forward-scrolling sections of the level, essentially serving as a more extinct version of the giant rabid. Polar bears of unbearable. Other obstacles to avoid include pterodactyls, muck-dwelling lava systems, mini-volcanoes, puddles of magma, and vegetation. The player has retrieved the red gem. Okay, I'll talk about that once I beat the red gem. 66 boxes, 14 in the bonus, 1 crystal, 2 gems, both clear. Trivia: in the Crash Bandicoot 3 map, this level plus Dynamite takes place back 65 million years ago in South America. Alright, so that's all the trivia and everything for the levels that I've played so far. So thank you for watching. The challenge video is how many boxes have I collected from the 2 bonus runs I've played so far. Thank you for watching. Next time we will do level 5, the boss for this warp room, and then I'll try to do levels 6 and 7 in the next warp room. So until then, later everyone.